Welcome back, everyone, to the Sideline Report. Marvin Jackson here with Lou Holder, Santana Moss, Donna Hopkins, Charlie Neal, and David Aldridge. All-star lineup right there. Now, let's talk about this situation with the NFC and AFC championship games. We got great quarterbacks. One of them's Mr. Irrelevant, so that's a great story right there. But the other quarterbacks are pretty much supermen. And one is a little hobbled, but they say he's still going to play. Let's talk about those games. And Donna, start off with who you think is the team that really is going to go far here, win the championship, and then go into the Super Bowl.
Hey, Marvin, you got to look at the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I think about 4 weeks ago, I said they were just quietly winning games and everything. And like you said, Joe Barrows, he's just not afraid of anybody. You like his swagger right now. The offensive line was supposed to be the weak link going into that game against Buffalo, but they just pushed Buffalo's top defensive line around, and they've got a great running game. And when you look across the playoffs right now, it's the running game with every team. And Joe Mixon with the Bengals, they had 173 yards against Buffalo. So I look for them to run the ball again. And then you've got a great receiver in Lamar Chase. And that list goes on, but it starts with that quarterback play and just his confidence. He's almost like willing this team forward. And they had Kansas City's numbers the last few years. So I like Cincinnati on that AFC side. And when you look on the NFC side, it can go either way because you like the 49ers, you like the Eagles, and the Eagles got 3 individuals on the offensive side that went over 1,000 yards, 2 receivers in Brown and Smith, and then Sanders, the running back, went over 1,000 yards. And then Hurts, he's back. If he's 100%, this is going to be a good game as far as that 49ers and the Eagles. It could go either way.
Yeah, I second you with that. Both of those teams, when it comes to the AFC, I'm big on the Bengals also. I think that Joe Burrow alone, man, him and Chase and those guys, Higgins, that receiver core alone is something to watch, and I just see the way that Joe plays with so much poise. He played like a guy that been here well beyond his years, and he just has the confidence. He has he has something about him that just reminds you of Joe Montana. They call him Joe Cool for a reason. He's just cool under pressure. You saw him last week when things broke down. He stepped up in the pocket, found a wide open Chase, and Chase walked in for a touchdown, for the first touchdown, I believe. But I think the Bengals, to me, just outright has Kansas City number. When we go to the NFC talk, I'm a big fan of what the 49ers do. I love Kyle Shanahan and his offense alone. I love when those guys was here. I was a big fan of Mike Shanahan's dad, and I love what they represented and what they stood for as coaches. But when they're talking about winning this weekend, I would have to lean on the Philadelphia Eagles side. I think, seeing what Hurts has been able to do, the way people perceived him before he even got to this point that he is today, I was already, rooting for him. I was rooting for him to be a success because I thought he had a chance. Any guy that has, went through what he went through and overcomes that, you want to get behind. Seeing what he went through, in the national championship game, happened to be benched, and Tua going out there winning that championship, then him transferring over to Oklahoma, winning some big games over there, having a great season, then being drafted. And the Philadelphia Eagles just like pretty much did the same thing they did Donovan McNabb, was they booed him. They didn't like that pickup. And even coming into this season, that team wasn't sure about what they had. They liked his potential and saw some good things from him, but they still wasn't quite sure. So to see him put all that behind him and go out there and play as confident as he has played, and the new pickups, the additions that they picked up in the draft and in the free agency, Philadelphia Eagles, man, they have what it takes. So I see them representing the NFC, and I think the Bengals are going to represent the AFC.
Hey, Charlie Neal, I know you're a Eagle person too.
Yeah, well,
what is the difference in Hurts? Is it the coaching? How did he grow like that, progress like that?
He's a natural talent. I mean, he's got that ability, I think Jalen is the type of athlete that it doesn't matter who's coaching him. He's gonna bring it every single day. 24/7. You know, this is a team that won 14 of the 15 games that he played in this past year. And that makes a difference. You know, you could probably think put him in any team, even here in Washington, and even with Norv Turner or whoever's coaching or Ron Rivera, and they're going to win. That's the type of talent he is. You know, and you're talking about, when you talk about this NFC championship game, you're talking about the 49ers, the number 1 defensive team and the number 5 offensive team in the conference. And the Eagles, the number 2 defensive team and the number 3 offensive team. They're the only teams in the NFL that were ranked in the top 5, offensive and defensive, this past season. But again, I'm going to give the nod to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to give the nod in both games to the home teams. I know, you know, that Cincinnati was able to go up to Buffalo in the snow and move the Bills around. And I don't think anybody believed that was going to happen, you know, even though both teams are in cold climates. But, you know, Buffalo in the snow at home, they're almost unbeatable. But Cincinnati proved that to be untrue. But they're going to Kansas City this week. Even with a hobbled Patrick Mahomes, I still think that the Kansas City Chiefs have something to prove. And based on what happened last year, and that, you know, hey, they're going to win it. I'm going to go with Philadelphia, and I'm going to go with Kansas City. I'm going to stay with the home teams this week.
Yeah, I'm big on coaching, and the way the Cincinnati coach, he's just got this moxie to him as well. And I think that, you know, they were in the Super Bowl last year, so it's like it's almost like you shouldn't be surprised that we're here. This was our goal, to get back here and further and win this thing. So I think Cincinnati's just in their sweet spot right now, and it all starts with their head coaching. And then when you go to the other end, you know, they showed some stat that, you know, Purdy and Hurts played in college. It was Iowa State versus Oklahoma, and it was an absolute shootout. All of them threw up 5 touchdowns and what have you. So the talent is so evenly matched. And I just think that you play all year long to get home field advantage in a NFC and AFC championship game. And I think this is one of those times where I think it's going to work in Philadelphia's favor. They got so many weapons, and playing at home, being in that link, all of us have been there in some way, shape, or form. That place is insane right now. It hasn't left since the Phillies were in the World Series. It's insane right now, and I think that's just going to be able to push them over the edge. So I have the Eagles and the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl.
David Aldridge.
Road chalk, my man. Road chalk. I think, first of all, injuries are so important this time of year. Philly's got the best offensive line in football, but Lane Johnson's really, really playing hurt. Like, he's not dinged up. He's playing hurt, like injured. He's playing injured. And against that front that San Francisco brings, and Fred Warner right behind them, and their secondary is just, the safety is terrific. I just don't know that line can hold up for 4 quarters against that front, as banged up as it is. And the same thing in the AFC with Kansas City. Mahomes is great. We all know he's great, but you remember in the Super Bowl when he was injured, how difficult it was for him to do anything against Tampa Bay a couple of years ago. Well, it's the same thing against Cincinnati, and their defense. Fredrickson's a beast. It's a Pro Bowler, defensive end, always generates pass rush pressure. They went into Buffalo in elements, in the snow, shut down Buffalo's offense, shut it down. They didn't do anything. You know, Allen is top 2, top 3 quarterback in the league. They shut him down. And so I think Cincinnati, because of that, and you all mentioned all of the weapons they have on offense, I just don't see Kansas City's defense being able to stop all those weapons. I think, I don't think they've got a couple of playmakers on defense, and Chris Jones is a heck of a defensive lineman, defensive end, but I think they're going to have a tough time keeping Cincinnati out the end zone. So I think you're going to see a rematch of Super Bowl 16 and Super Bowl, what was it, 23, 22, whatever it was, Cincinnati and San Francisco again.
Which quarterbacks have the most pressure on them?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I would say that too.
I'd say Kansas City.
Mahomes has the most pressure on him.
I would think so,
Charlie. Yep.
Yeah.
because he has not won against Cincinnati.
Nope.
And so, yeah, I kind of agree with you on that.
Yeah, the one with the least pressure is Purdy. I mean, he's playing with house money.
Right.
He's like, woohoo!
Right. Just being there is fun for him, right? So the coaches in this thing, will there be a coach who steps up and makes a difference? You guys seem to think that it's Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think you got to look at Cal Shanahan too, because he's done a tremendous job coaching, scheming up stuff, and they want to get into that Super Bowl. So I think you got to watch him also, with his young quarterback and how he gets him prepared for this championship, because we know regular season, even last week, is totally different. But when you come to the championship round, you got to basically scheme up for your young quarterback of what they're going to face with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, Charlie mentioned it, that Hurts has won all but one game this year that he played in. What was the one game they lost? They lost to Washington. How'd they lose to Washington? Because Washington ran the ball down their throats. That's how they lost to Washington. And they kept Taylor Heineke ahead of the change. It was always 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4. It was never 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10. I think Kyle Shanahan's really smart. He's going to figure out, he already has a great zone running scheme. I think he's going to figure out a way to run the football effectively with, not just with McCaffrey, but with Eli Mitchell too. They got 2 dynamite running backs. I just think they're going to run the football a lot, keep the pressure off of Purdy, not make him have to make plays down the field, because then they will be in trouble against the Eagles pass rush. So I think if they look at how Washington beat Philly, they can do that too. And because they have a better offensive line than Washington does. And they have better running backs than Washington does. So they can do it too.
That's what he did last week, is he ran the ball at the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Debo, as Charlie just mentioned, I mean, he's another weapon that we haven't really seen. We didn't see it much last week, but it could be a big weapon against Philadelphia, because he can go out and receive and catch and run the ball as well.
Right.
Here's a stat that I saw. The same officiating team that was for that Giants-Washington game where it just basically blew it at the end, they're going to be the same.
Oh.
They're going to be the same officiating crew in that NFC championship.
Better be up on the line.
Well, that's not totally true. It may be the same referee, but the crew changes for the playoffs.
Okay.
So it's
the
not the same
crew.
It's not It's not the same crew.
Yeah.
You got Hussey and Ron Torbert are the referees for this weekend's conference championship games. And again, the crews are made up based on their ratings throughout the season, but the referee might be the same referee.
Just make sure you guys still be up on the line, wide receivers. Be up on that.
I think either
make sure
way,
make sure you check that you're on side.
That happens nowhere but in Washington. Trust me.
Santana, if you signal if you go to the ref, you look at the ref says you good. Aren't you good?
Look, regardless of what he called on him being on the line, it was a blatant penalty after that. So at the end of the day, regardless, they just didn't give us nothing. So
that's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know what pass interference is if that one plays against Samuels is not pass interference.
For real.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Most cornerbacks would say it wasn't. No, right, Santana?
That thing was going on.
What do you guys think about this halftime show? I got to ask you guys. I mean, there are people who are saying
Rihanna's performing. That's all you need. Rihanna's performing.
See, most of us would probably say Rihanna's good, but I heard somebody say they would prefer Beyonce. She had a better show. But what do you guys think about that?
Jay-Z's going to help put it together.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna get the Beehive or Rihanna's Navy on me. I love them both.
I want to hear what Santana says.
What did Nick Bakai say? Advantage push.
Okay. Santana, I want to.
I'm big on just seeing a great show. I think after last year's show, they have to match that energy. You know what I mean? So with Jay-Z being behind the things like that of that nature now, I'm pretty sure
he's going to be producing anyway, right?
And that Rihanna is one of his artists. I'm pretty sure that he's going to tell us you got to match that same energy. So it should be something that we look forward to when it comes to just not being her by herself. She might bring some other guests out and make it real nice for us.
All right, and it should be a great Super Bowl with these awesome teams in the championship games. And I think my dream Super Bowl would be Cincinnati and Philadelphia. I think that would be just an awesome, tough game and very competitive to the end, probably. So
That's
thanks.
a good Super Bowl.
Speaking of the end, thanks so much, everybody. We've run out of time. Thanks, Donna, Santana, David Aldridge, Charlie Neal, and of course, Lou Holder. Thanks for being with us. And you guys enjoy the playoffs this weekend, the championships this weekend, and then the Super Bowl. So for the Sideline Report, I'm Marvin Jackson. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.